All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fuck nicks? I'm Marc Maron. This is my podcast. Welcome to it. We're coming down to the wire here. Only a few more shows. I hope you're all right. Are you all right? Today on the show, Mac Groening is here. He's the creator of The Simpsons, which means he's responsible for a global phenomenon and an American cultural institution. I was on episode 653 of The Simpsons. That's season 30. He's also known for Futurama, Disenchantment, and he got him right under the wire here. He will be the last guest recorded here in the garage. I'm going to do one more, and that'll be me talking to you directly. Just me. Just us. It's going to be just us. And then we have one more after that. This is the longest goodbye ever. But it's important. It's important. I have to go in the house now. I think, what is it with being sick and you want toast? You just want peanut butter and toast. Is that a childhood thing? I don't know. I hope it doesn't upset you that I don't talk for a really long time today. I will on Thursday, but I am under the weather, and I have to go run around the fucking city of Los Angeles now and do Q&As at 2 screenings of my doc. Let's talk about that. Couple of things. The special screenings of the documentary, Are We Good? Around the country. They happen Wednesday, October 8th. It's currently playing in New York and L.A. I'll be at a screening at the Arrow here in L.A. next Friday, October 10th. You can go to arewegoodmarin.com to see where else it's playing and get tickets. I'll be back at Dynasty Typewriter in L.A. for 2 shows, Saturday, October 11th and Friday, October 17th. I'll be back at Largo on Tuesday, October 14th. And Tuesday, October 28th with the band. You can go to WTFpod.com/tour for tickets. Also, you guys, if I'm going to talk, certainly in the near future, I will do it on Instagram. So you can go follow me on Instagram if you haven't done that. Also, our friend Brian Jones, who makes all the cat mugs I give to my guests, will be part of the Hudson Valley Pottery Tour this month. That's October 18th and 19th. Admission is free to all the studios on the tour. Go to HudsonValleyPotteryTour.com to learn more. I've been doing a lot of work around the house, trying to make it funner for Charlie. Make it more fun for Charlie when I have him locked upstairs. It's so dumb, waffling about what I'm going to do with this cat. Eventually, we'll move him into his own house out here. But until then, I put together, I was sick yesterday, and I put together a cat tree, and I opened the window. I took a shade off with the screwdriver from, screws out of wood, and took that down. I want to take it down anyways. Then I screwed the window shut to make sure he couldn't fuck with it, and now he can perch on his new cat tree and look out the window. Yeah, that's what, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous how much I tweak out about these cats. Scrambled to the vet today. That was a whole other thing, man. You know, Buster's been acting weird, and you kind of feel like when they're sick, and he was marking everywhere, and I don't know. I thought it was Charlie, and but it comes and goes, and then I found like when you're looking for pee, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God. There's way more pee than I ever imagined possible. Jackson Galaxy told me to get a black light. I'm afraid to even use it. He just fucking peed all along the inside of the curtains, all around the rooms. I was like, what the fuck? And he's on Busporin. I'm on the Busporin, and I no longer pee on the wall around the house. I mean, why isn't it working for him? Yeah, I was a big peer in corners. No more. It should be working for him. But then I thought maybe he's got a UTI, so I took him to the vet. I'm scrambling because I got some things to do out of town, and I'm scrambling to get everything. I brought Charlie to the vet to see if he might be fucked up with a pee thing, because he's peeing in the sink, but he's always peed in the sink. Then I took Buster in. They did tests, and she didn't think it was a UTI because he's marking. But Buster always pees vertically. He always marks. I've never seen him pee normal. The Busporin should be working for that, right? Anyway, so yesterday I get or the day before yesterday, I get a email from the vet. He's got bacteria in his pee. And I'm like, well, I got to go. So I drag poor Buster in there and get him the shot. And then I had all these errands to run yesterday and wasn't working out. This is not, none of it's important. We should be here kind of easing out. But it's so weird. I know I've talked about this before, but when I get sick and my body just slows down, I can really tap into stuff. I can tap into vibes I felt a long time ago about places. I guess it's sort of like a deja vu of sickness, maybe. Like, I think that when your body's sort of shut down a little bit and you're a little sick, it remembers other times you were sick. I keep thinking about college and about, kind of walking through, always feeling exhausted and just feeling the fall in Boston and just sort of like, kind of like totally tripping out on it. I guess the word now is vibing on it. And it's just almost like time travel when I get a little ill. I hope it doesn't get worse. Kid's got a bronchial thing. You don't want that, man. Keep it out of my chest. Please. Please keep it out of my chest. I know this is not the kind of thing you want to be talking about, as we head into the last few shows, but this is who I am right now. And that, I'll say it again and again. I'm so happy you guys hung out, man. I'm so happy you guys all hung out. A lot more people hung out than I even thought of. Every time I have a guest on, it's like they're like so many people told me that they heard me. I'm like, oh my God. But I'm glad you hung out. I hope I didn't get anyone sick. Oh my God. Do I have to keep talking through the sickness? You guys going to be okay until Thursday? That's a big talk. So much work to make one cat comfortable. It's so fucking crazy. It'll all level off. Everything is so important to me in the moment. I do not have ADHD. What I have is when I realize something is up, I have to deal with it immediately or else I'll forget it. But, I got to give this cat thing a rest, God damn it. All right, look. This is the way I'm going out. Wow. Today, with only a few shows left. Sick and worked up about cats. That makes sense. All right, look. Matt Groening is here. Season 13 of Futurama is now on Hulu. The Simpsons just began its 37th season, and the 800th episode will air in February. And this is me talking to the great Matt Groening. What have you never mentioned?
I've never mentioned the original inspiration for Homer Simpson, and it was from a 1982 documentary on PBS. It was part of the Middletown series about Muncie, Indiana. And one of the episodes was called Family Business, and it was about a guy who had a Shakey's Pizza franchise, and he was going nuts. He couldn't make his monthly due.
Nuts.
And it was just about him trying to make pizza and have the straw hat on and playing the piano and running around and stuff. And he had his kids working there.
Yeah.
And his kids loved him, but he didn't have enough money to pay his kids.
Yeah.
And one moment in the documentary, the kids just can't take it, and they go to a movie instead of coming to work.
Yeah.
And he's there by himself, and of course the camera crew is there documenting this guy going crazy. And I thought, this is a man, a sweet man who's getting kicked in the ass by life. I want to write about that. And that's where Homer came from.
From that guy, from the Shakey's guy.
Yeah.
That's good information.
Thank you.
And it's never been out there.
Nope.
That's the big news on this episode. Do you have an outline?
I just have some little things if I want to mention something that I get the thing right.
Really?
Yeah.
You did some work beforehand?
Well, there's a few there's a documentary that I love that I want to mention. It's called Which Way Home. It's an HBO documentary from, God, I don't remember where.
Which Way Home?
Which Way Home. It's about immigrant children coming up from Central America and Mexico to the United States.
Yeah.
And it is the most heartbreaking documentary I've ever seen.
Okay.
And I think it would change people's minds who have no empathy for immigrants if they could see this documentary. It just blew my mind.
The empathy deficit I don't completely understand, but I've grown to believe that through massive pummeling by propaganda, that I think it creates a manic state. And I don't think they can see past it until they see people face to face.
Well, it doesn't even get acknowledged that things to be empathetic about,
Yeah. Right.
on the news. I mean, everything
true.
is so narrow and everything is replaced by the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing.
Whatever the news is.
Yeah,
at
whatever
this
it
point.
is. It's all about,
I had that conversation with someone the other night about their parents, getting, brain fucked into Trumpism. And it's really because that generation, your age, a little older, when they watch Fox News, they think it's the news.
Right.
And these are people that watched Cronkite, for half their life. And they just don't make the adjustment. They're like, well, that guy's sitting there behind the desk. It's the news.
Well, one way in which I'm not surprised by Trump is that growing up watching television evangelists, blatantly being crooks and con artists.
Oral Roberts.
Oral Roberts. And
Billy Graham.
Billy Graham.
Pat Robertson.
When I was in the Boy Scouts in the late 1960s, our Scoutmaster volunteered us to be ushers at a Billy Graham revival.
Wow.
In Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And we got on a bus and we drove over there. And on the way, I drove past something called the Psychedelic Shop, which is a brand new emporium.
How old were you?
I was 12.
Okay,
probably.
so you're driving home from the...
No, I'm driving on the way to the revival.
To the Billy Graham revival.
And I see the Psychedelic Shop, and I go, I got to go there.
1960?
67.
Oh, so early.
Early.
First Psychedelic Shop.
Yes. And I snuck out of the revival after handing out tracts.
Yeah.
And I walked across the bridge, across the river, Willamette River, to the Psychedelic Shop, and there's where I saw. The thing I remember most is that Grateful Dead poster with the skeleton and the roses.
That's the best record.
The best.
It's that's like late 60s, right? So that's 67 live?
Yeah, the very first record I ever bought was the Grateful Dead record.
Which one?
The first one, the first album.
What else did you see in there?
Well, the only thing I could afford at the time was the first Country Joe and the Fish 7-inch EP.
So it was a record shop, too?
Records and posters.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got Country Joe and the Fish. Which one?
The Rag Baby EP. It's a 7-inch EP.
Okay.
But see, I had very hip parents, and my father was in advertising, and we got free subscriptions to every general interest magazine in the country, and I had just read an issue of Ramparts magazine, which was this political...
Back when Horowitz was the other way.
So, yes, exactly.
Yes.
Anyway, they talked about psychedelic music in this magazine, which I'd never heard. I just heard about, and so I wanted to hear what it sounded like, and it turned out it was rock and roll.
Sure. It was it's all kind of country-driven rock.
Right.
It's interesting, Ramparts magazine, that Horowitz, what's his first name, David?
Yeah.
That he went so dramatically the other way, that he was part of the Ramparts magazine, and then something broke in his brain, and he is cited as the mentor of Stephen Miller. It's crazy. That story, I know his son, and I'm like, that's got to be a movie. The arc of that. Because Ramparts was an important, lefty rag, right?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And then this guy becomes the architect of the mindset that creates a Stephen Miller. Isn't that a fascinating movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But other thing about Stephen Miller that I don't get, how could you go to Santa Monica High School and turn out like him?
Because he was clearly annoying and hated. And it seems to me that the only way he could push back on it was leaning into it. And then he began to enjoy it.
Right.
He liked being a fucking iconoclastic cunt. And it gave him in his own space, and they didn't like him anyways.
Right.
And then he locked in.
Right.
And this is what we get.
Right.
A Jewish Nazi.
Yes, I remember you said that on your special, which I just watched. That was great.
Oh, thank you so much. We met right at the Zappa house.
Yes,
I remember that.
Do you remember what year that was?
Holy shit! Well, it must have been maybe a year before she got cancer.
So it was a party.
It's a yearly Christmas party at the Zappas.
Right.
I'd been dating Moon for about 10 minutes. And I'd gotten invited to this very dug-in tradition of the Zappa Christmas party. And going over there was just mind-blowing to me. That was the first time I'd been at the house.
Oh, wow.
And we only dated for like 6 months, but it was long enough to be able to go to that thing, and her giving me the tour of the Frank studio and then the new studio. And for some reason, Moby was there because him and Moon are friends, and he was dragging along on the tour. It ruined it. He kept stopping and playing every fucking instrument in the place. I'm like, dude, just have some reverence, dude.
That was amazing. So you asked me to do your podcast.
Then. Yeah, and what happened?
And I said, I'll think about it.
And now you're doing the last one.
This is the last one?
Well, no, it's the last one is also going to be an interview. And then the one before the last one is going to be me just talking about the podcast. And then the third to the last one is going to be you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm honored. So if you recall, at the time, I promised you that I would do your podcast, and you would be the first podcast that I would do.
Yeah.
And I kept that in my mind all those years.
Yeah.
But I have to confess, I did do two other podcasts. I did a Simpsons podcast because it was the last episode of the Simpsons podcast called Round Springfield by Ali Gertz and Julia Prescott.
Yeah.
And then I did a Jay Kogan, who was a Simpsons writer. He had a podcast. So those are the only two I did. And
that's
then
good.
I saved myself for you.
Because, as long as you covered all that Simpsons stuff elsewhere, then maybe we can have a good conversation.
I don't want to talk about anything
Simpson related.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because like generationally, like my producer, who's, a good deal younger than me, he's in his mid-40s. I mean, The Simpsons informed his entire existence. There's a whole generation of people who The Simpsons, it just gave them all the intellectual and comedic and, cultural education that enabled them to move through the world with a sense of humor and intelligence. I believe that.
Wow.
Do you believe that?
Well, I have to be a little bit more modest.
No, you don't.
Yeah. So no, but what I push back and I'll push it away from me is say that one of the great things about The Simpsons, I always wanted it to be funny.
Yeah.
I always thought it was going to be a success, but I didn't know that it would be that crazily successful, and I didn't understand what the possibilities are. I thought there were boundaries and rules in animation that I knew in my head, and I was wrong.
In animation, not in scripted.
In comedy, and whatever.
Yeah.
And there were so many things I liked and so many things that influenced me from time I was a little kid. My father, Homer, was a cartoonist in the 1950s.
Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know why I just said it like that. Like you'd be lying to me about that. All right, well, let's go back to that then. So you grew up where?
I grew up in Portland, Oregon.
So Portland, Oregon.
War-torn Portland, Oregon.
Sure, yeah, where it's impossible for people to live there right now. The war is ongoing.
Exactly.
I just talked to, I have friends up there. I just talked to somebody the other day. It's just, all that's ridiculous. But Portland, for me, when I've gone there, I've always felt a seeping darkness.
Because it rains so much.
Well, there's that. But it also felt ancient, not ancient quite, but maybe 1800s kind of darkness. Like I felt that there was something about that town and whoever discovered it and whatever rules were put into place that made a darkness. Is that possible?
Possible. Yeah. Well, it was always rainy.
Yeah.
It was the town was named by a coin toss. It was Lovejoy and I can't remember the other guy, and they tossed a coin, and if one had won, it would have been Boston, Oregon, and the other one was Portland.
Oh, we got Portland.
That's when we got Portland.
But the racial laws were kind of rough for a long time.
Racial laws were very bad. Yes, in Oregon.
Like that, literally, there were no black people allowed.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Up until like a couple of years ago, right?
No, things loosened up. I did go to an all-white grade school.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Was it called that?
All white. It was called Ainsworth, after Captain Ainsworth.
Oh.
In fact, there's all these streets in Portland that I named characters after.
Oh, really?
So that's, yes. So Lovejoy, Reverend Lovejoy.
Yeah.
Kearney.
Yeah.
It's named after the Kearney Care Center where I used to work in high school.
What'd you do there?
Washing dishes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it, the Kearney Care Center?
It was for old people.
Oh, so you were a nice kid.
When I wasn't washing dishes, they tasked me with wheeling old people around the neighborhood. And I remember it was a couple of my dishwashing buddies and me, and we were wheeling these guys, and they pointed up at this theater marquee of the movie theater on the corner, and it was The Stewardesses in 3D, which was a softcore porn movie.
Oh.
And we coughed up our own money to take the old people.
You brought them?
Yes.
And did they enjoy it?
Yes, they did.
Was there any commentary afterwards?
No.
All right, so you're growing up in Portland. So your dad was a published cartoonist?
Yes, in little magazines, Pageant and Argosy.
Single panel stuff?
Single panel, the prospector crawling across the desert looking for something to drink, those kind of things. Guys on deserts, islands. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he was also an advertising person?
He got into advertising. But before that, he's got a really interesting story because he grew up in Kansas. He was born in Canada because his parents were Mennonites and they were pacifists and they didn't want him to be an American citizen. So they drove up to Canada so he would not be born in the U.S. and he would not have to serve in the military.
Right.
And so he was born in Saskatchewan, and then they came back and lived in western Kansas where he did not speak English. He spoke German until the age of 5. The family did not have a car. They had a wagon, horse and wagon. And
Mennonites. And they made it to Portland.
They made it to McMinnville, which is south of Portland, where I don't know this part of the story.
But was it part of that wave of Germans and I think like some parts of Russia where they wanted people to come to farm the land in the Midwest because it was so hard?
I guess so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And my dad's mother was from Russia, and her family escaped from Russia, and then they somehow hooked up, got married in Kansas, and then moved to Oregon, where I don't know how this happened, but both of them became all college educated, and my grandfather was a physics teacher at Linfield College and then Lewis and Clark College for the rest of their lives, and my grandmother taught Russision. And these were ex-Mennonites.
These are your mother's parents or your parents?
My father's parents.
He was a physicist?
He was a physics teacher.
A physics teacher.
Yeah. But I didn't understand where did he get the connection from being a Mennonite to Einstein?
I think that, not unlike you walking into the psychedelic shop, somewhere along the line, his mind got blown.
Yes.
And he's like, I've got to figure this out.
Yeah. So my dad was a stalwart, obedient kid who was obsessed by basketball, and he wanted to be a basketball player when he grew up. And he just played basketball all the time. And he realized when he got to college that he was never going to make it in basketball because
that's an important realization.
So he decided to perfect a basketball shot that only he could do. And so starting in college, he turned around, faced away from the basket to the other, looking at the other basket, and over his head he would shoot. And he moved out an inch a month for 30 years.
Well, this explains how he got interested in physics. The answer's right there. That was the seed of it.
The FBI came to the house at the beginning of World War II and said, because my father had joined Red Cross. In fact, he taught life-saving at a Japanese internment camp in Southern California. I said, how could you cooperate with such a racist thing? And he said, yeah, it was racist, but I wanted to be good to the people that were locked up, so I taught life-saving. Anyway, so the FBI came and they said that if my dad didn't join up, he would go to prison.
Join up in the forces?
Yeah, join the forces. And my dad joined the Air Force, ended up being a B-17 bomber pilot.
Come on.
Yes. And then he gave me the book Catch-22 by Joseph Heller.
Oh, that's another.
And I went, oh, my God, that's what it was like? He said, no. But it's a really good book.
How old were you when you read that book?
12.
This 12-year-old thing, this is where it all starts.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yes.
Grateful Dead.
Frank
Joe.
Frank Zappa.
Zappa at 12?
Yes.
Where'd you find Zappa at 12?
Well, that I found Freak Out at the grocery store.
At the grocery store in the record bin.
They had a little record bin at the grocery store.
Yeah, I bought Jethro Tull's Aqualung at Skaggs Pharmacy. They only had like one little bin of records. And Freak Out made it in there.
Yes.
Isn't that wild when the record companies, they try?
Yeah.
And that's a great record to have.
Yes.
And that was the beginning of your relationship with Zappa?
I followed every album since that first one.
All 900?
Yes. And they still, the amazing thing, like he's been gone since 1993, and they're still putting out new, fresh stuff. A few times a year. Ahmed is doing such an amazing job
at keeping the archive alive.
Yes,
I guess they once they unloaded that house and went through all those tapes downstairs. They were like, oh my God.
Well, when Frank was alive, he invited me over once, and he said, do you want to see the basement
Yeah.
where all the tapes were.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. He goes, well, you got to put on the spelunking helmet. And I had to wear a helmet with a headlamp on it.
Yeah.
And go down into the sub basement, and there were just racks and racks and shelves and shelves.
Did you spend a lot of time with him?
Yes, I did. Well, yes, on a regular basis, a small amount of time every day, every week.
Really?
Every Friday. Yeah.
And like, what'd you guys talk about?
Music and politics.
Uh-huh.
And he was, I think he liked me because first of all, he was a big Simpsons fan.
Uh-huh.
So that was good. In fact, he said, if you want, I'll come down and mumble into the microphone for you. And I never got around to it, and he got too sick.
Really? You didn't get him on?
No.
Did you have to approve me being on?
No. Oh, by the way, thank you very much. Thank you very much. What's that? 2018? You were on with Krusty the Clown.
Krusty the Clown. I interviewed Krusty the Clown. I think it's the episode 653 of The Simpsons.
Wow.
That's my episode.
Wow. I'll never forget Krusty saying to you, "That's off limits, Soul Patch."
Well, I think in the tradition, like in terms of you're gravitating towards Zappa outside the music, I think that, what's at the heart of what The Simpsons has become is there's a healthy amount of fuck you in it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And that, that art with a healthy amount of fuck you is necessary, more so than ever, but it's hard to get to a broader audience with it, I think, now.
Well, I learned, when I moved to Los Angeles after college in 1970.
So wait, now let me just ask you before we get there, because I've had this, I don't know if it's a catharsis, but a sort of a re-realization. I watched the documentary Crumb for like the second time recently. I saw it when it came out, and I watched it again. And not unlike you, although I'm probably 10 years younger than you, I went into, I had an experience with underground comics that changed my life, to completely reconfigure my brain. I was at a B. Dalton bookseller in Wenrock Shopping Mall in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the humor section, and they had the history of underground comics. And in that, they was broken into categories like sex, violence, and a few other categories. And I saw there's that one panel by Spain Rodriguez, I think, with the constellation of two people fucking in space. And then there's all the Crumb stuff, all the fucking. Just like, and I'm sitting there, in this bookstore with a fucking boner, wondering like, what the fuck is this? They didn't even know what they had. Changed my life. So, because it reconfigured the possibilities of comics and of, what you could get away with. But I watched the Crumb documentary again, and I realized that if you look at everything through a Crumb lens, you will feel better about life.
Yeah.
That if you look at people and then just crumb them, it humanizes everybody. Because it's just this, like, that slightly strange kind of caricature that shows their flaws, and even if they're grotesque, they're more human than they would be.
Right.
And it's really helping me right now. Now, did you have experience before you left, when you were a kid with comics in general?
Well, again, my dad was a cartoonist, so
Sure.
the house was full of cartooning books and
Of how to.
Well, how to, but also collections of from Punch magazine and Saturday Evening Post.
Yeah.
And again, we got every magazine in the country delivered to the house. So I read my job was to stack them up in piles in the basement.
Where does Gahan Wilson factor in?
Again, Wilson was in Playboy.
Yeah.
So
where does he factor into your mental?
He's definitely up there.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you pronounce his first name?
Gahan?
Gahan? Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Did you watch that doc?
No, I haven't.
There's a doc about him.
Wow.
It's great. Those ones killed me. And the Crumb killed me.
Oh my God! So I was at
S. Clay Wilson.
Do you remember Meltdown Comics?
Sure.
On Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
I was in Meltdown Comics, Hawaiian shirt and shorts.
Yeah.
And this guy came in and he said, "Are you Matt?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you know anything about Playboy?" I go, "Yes." And he said, "Come with me." And across the street there was an auction of all Playboy, old Playboy memorabilia from the magazine.
Yeah.
And I came over there, and it was all people much younger than me.
Yeah.
And they had no idea what they were looking at, nor did the people who ran the auction house. And so I said, "That's Gahan Wilson, and that's, so and so." And
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Do you know S. Clay Wilson? His stuff?
I met him a couple times.
It's great.
I interviewed him.
He's great.
Can I do an interview? Ask me a question to escape play with.
So where did you come up with the checkered demon? He was sick already?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
I met him. I interviewed all of the Zap Comics cartoonists.
The whole bunch of them?
Yeah. They did a new issue, and they came to L.A. and
Spain, Robert S. Clay?
S. Clay, Rick Griffin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And when was that?
I can't remember.
Were you already doing The Simpsons?
Yeah. No, that was before The Simpsons.
Ah. So
I think, yeah.
But so when do you start doing cartoons before you come down here?
Oh, yeah. I was doing cartoons. I was drawing from the first day of first grade. I was so bored in school that I just remember constantly drawing.
I did that too, but I didn't stick with it.
Well, I stuck with it, but I didn't think I was going to do anything with it. I just thought I'm doomed to wiggle the pencil.
What
on
were
the
your
paper.
early styles?
I would always imitate Dr. Seuss and Charles Schultz, Peanuts.
Oh, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why my line is all curvy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely the Peanuts are in there, huh?
Right.
And Dr. Seuss.
And then later, when I moved to L.A., I hated it so much that I got a job working at a Xerox place, and I made my own little magazine, my own little zine called Life in Hell, and it was all about Los Angeles and living here and how much I hated it, and that's one thing that I learned, that hostility only goes a little ways. Most humor has hostility in it, but you can't be so blatant with it. You gotta lure people in.
So you had to temper your life from hell?
Well, what I did was at first I would make the little bunny rabbit that was the star of the comic.
Yeah.
He'd just rant.
Yeah.
He'd just rant and rant and rant, and people didn't like it.
Single panels?
No, it was like
Full
a little
strips?
comic book.
Yeah.
But then I got a job at the Los Angeles Reader newspaper, a weekly paper.
Yeah.
And they let me have a comic strip in the back of the paper in the classifieds.
Yeah.
And I called it Life in Hell, and I made it square.
Yeah.
Because that was the same shape as a record album.
Yeah.
And for the first 6 months, I just was very angry, and nobody liked it. And then I just made Binky, the rabbit, a victim.
Okay.
And bad things happened to him, and people seemed to really like that.
So you switched
people like
from
the
just
lovable loser.
existential rants to a guy
Existential self-hating
rant, right, to underdog.
Yes.
Oh, and that changed everything.
That did change
But so
everything.
what'd you study in college?
I went to a college called the Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington.
I know that place.
No grades, no required courses.
So out of patchouli, oils,
a lot of
white kids with dreads.
A lot of hippies, yes. In
so
fact,
what year was that?
That was 73 to 77.
So still pretty full hippie, 73.
Oh, it was all hippies.
Oh, really?
It was all hippies, yeah.
Were you political? Were you part of it? Were you, what were you doing? Were you,
I consider myself pretty progressive, but back then I was...
Yeah.
To them, I was, yes.
Right of center. Yeah. But what was the scene there? Was there, did you do poster art or anything?
I worked at the school newspaper, and I ended up editing the paper, and that's all I did. I just would do work on the school newspaper.
Did you have friends?
Yeah, of course. I had, yeah. That's when you have friends. I mean, this is what I tell kids who are miserable in high school. I say, grow up, graduate from high school, go to a college, and you're going to meet like-minded people.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It's when you're crummy town in your crummy school that you're in now. Get away.
Right.
Get away and meet creative, fun weirdos.
Yeah, you better do it soon before all the colleges turn into just exactly what your high school was.
Yeah. When I was in high school, it was in downtown Portland, and it was during the anti-war protests and stuff.
Yeah.
And the high point of being at Lincoln High School in Portland was that when the protesters came up and surrounded the school, and the principal freaked out, and he dismissed school, immediately, and that meant everybody in the school was out on the street with all the protesters. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was exciting.
Yes,
and it probably helped. It might have worked a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah.
Well, it's just
you got to do it. Yes,
of course. But it's interesting to me now that you know what is happening with the right in general. It's pushback that started just post the 60s. And the New Deal. They're still trying to dismantle the New Deal and dismantle any sort of cultural progress that was made in the late 60s, and they're doing it very quickly.
They're feeling their oats.
Yeah.
You know? But they were. I mean, there was always this sort of right wing, trying to worm their way in, and for the longest time it didn't work. And then it would work here and there, and I mean, in '68, George Wallace ran for president.
Yeah.
Totally blatant right wing racist Democrat.
Were you doing any art relative to that?
I would attempt to do bad psychedelic art.
Oh,
yes.
What form?
The psychedelic lettering that you can't really read.
Sure.
Yeah. And then
Kind of Art Nouveau.
with my friend Joe.
Yeah.
Who was my lifelong friend. I met him in the first grade. He was a kid that came up to me and said, "Smell my finger."
Yeah.
Not first grade, kindergarten. First day of kindergarten, Joe came up to me and said, "Smell my finger." I smelled it. It was a bad smell.
Yeah.
Right? And then he stuck his hand down the back of his pants and go up to everybody else and do it.
Okay.
That was his thing.
Yeah.
Really funny kid.
Yeah.
So then a month later, the kindergarten teacher marched us all down to the boys' restroom and said, "Who did that?" And there was somebody had dumped in the urinal.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
And you knew
right?
it.
And we were shocked. And we were kindergartners, except for Joe, who laughed his ass off. And they grabbed him and took him away.
And that was the last you saw of him?
No. The rest of my high school I spent with Joe. We had, asked about psychedelic posters. I did psychedelic posters for our band that never played.
Oh.
We had a little band, and I wrote the lyrics.
Yeah.
Funny, undulating, circling kaleidoscope, yellow, omnipresent universe, which is our version of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, but that spells out "fuck you."
Oh, see, the fuck you.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm right about it.
Yeah.
Fuck you is there.
Yeah.
And the art wasn't cartoons per se?
It was, it was cartoony.
Yeah. And Joe, did he let go of the shit angle eventually?
Yes, he did.
Oh,
yes, he
good.
did. And he became a fantastic guitarist, and he was a brilliant kid. And then in the height of hippiedom in the late 60s, he shaved his head. And I said, "Why?" And he said, "I want to be goon-worthy." And I don't know exactly what that meant, but he would march around and put up posters of cartoon robots saying "obey" and so on. And my senior year in high school, every month they would give the Boy of the Month award and the Girl of the Month award, and for the month that humor was the thing, Joe won.
So
Joe won for humor, and he got up on stage. And he said his joke, and you have to understand, Lincoln High School is made out of brick.
Yeah.
Okay. So he got up on stage and said, "Why is Lincoln High School so red?"
Yeah.
Well, if you had 8 periods a day, you'd be red too. Wow. And that got him kicked out of school. So
that was it.
And by the way, so my 50th high school reunion, I told that joke via video because I couldn't make it. And the kids I went to with high school, "Oh no, don't say it." They knew what was coming.
And did they all knew Joe?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And did you play music then or no?
I wanted to, but I have no skill.
But you were a big music fan.
I was a big music fan. I was in a band. I've been in a band with Stephen King and Dave Barry and Amy Tan and all these other writers.
Yeah.
The Rock Bottom Remainders.
Sure.
We were called the Remainders, but it turns out there was another band called the Remainders.
Yeah.
So we were the Rock Bottom Remainders.
So how far out do you have a huge record collection?
Yes, of course.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you ever, where'd you start collecting?
Well, I mean, I don't know if collecting, they piled up.
Yeah.
From the time I was, in high school.
Kid?
Yeah.
Just kept coming?
I think I had incredibly good luck at guessing by album covers what was good.
And you just kept up.
I kept up,
Do you like, you a jazz guy?
Yeah.
Are you a weirdo music guy?
Yes. Yes.
Who are your favorite weirdos?
Well, how weird do you want to get?
Like Residents weird?
Oh, yes. I know the Residents.
Yeah.
And I wrote a little bit about them back in the day.
Yeah.
The Residents. Let's see who else.
That universe?
That universe of weirdos. Obviously, Frank Zappa, Captain Beefheart.
Yeah.
The Bonzo Dog Band from England.
Uh-huh.
And then classical music and avant-garde classical music like Stravinsky, not so much avant-garde, but pretty amazing.
John Cage,
George Crumb, Toru Takamitsu,
Terry,
Olivier Messiaen.
No, I don't know them.
Terry Riley. Terry Riley, yes, of course.
Great. Yeah. All right, so you graduate with a degree in hippie?
Yes.
And you moved to L.A. for what?
I was either L.A. or New York, and so
For cartoons?
well, to be a writer, basically.
Okay, so to be a writer.
Because I never thought, nobody was saying, "Hey, your cartoons are great."
Okay, so you moved down here to be a writer.
I went to New York to see what it was like.
Yeah.
And and there were hypodermics on the stairwell of the apartment I was staying in. I said, I'm going to L.A.
And what's your mom do?
She was a school teacher, and then she raised 5 kids.
5 of you?
Yeah.
Are y'all weirdos?
No, I'm the weirdest, but they're all weird.
Yeah.
And by the way, so I have a sister Lisa and a sister Maggie. The characters in this show are named after them. And my father's Homer, obviously, and my mother is Margaret, but I shortened that to Marge. I thought it was slightly funnier.
Yeah.
And I do have an older brother named Mark.
Yeah.
But I was afraid he'd hit me if I named Mark.
Yeah.
Right.
But so your parents were okay with your choice of life?
No. When I went to Evergreen, they said I was throwing my life away. They were very unsupportive. They don't remember it that way, but from my recollection, they thought I was wasting my time. In fact, I sent them the newspaper that I was editing, the campus newspaper.
Yeah.
They showed it to journalists at the Oregonian in Portland.
Yeah.
And they said he will never get a job in journalism in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh,
and my parents said, we've never considered disowning you, but this
But they were progressive people-ish?
They were, but it was like the weirdest thing because, again, my father made movies, surfing movies in the 60s. He was very hip and very adventurous, but he had this military backbone that was kind of harsh. Yeah.
But he was an artist.
Yeah, he was. And he was a cartoonist.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand. Well, one thing he said, you can't draw.
He said that, yeah.
And then later, The Simpsons takes off. And my mother says, look, you did exactly what we told you to do, and look how it turned out.
Yeah, of course.
And I said, you didn't tell me to do this. You told me that I should drop out of school and enroll in a community college and learn a trade.
Yeah.
She goes, no, we didn't. I said, you told me to learn how to run a lathe.
Yeah.
And my mother said, no, we would never do that. You're clumsy. You'd slice your hands off.
They want to take credit.
Yes.
So when you got here, you were miserable. You worked at the Xerox place.
Yes.
Where else did you work?
I shortly after that, I got a job at Licorice Pizza, a record store right across the street from the Whiskey A Go Go.
So that must have been a life changer. What year was that?
1977. So that was the beginning of punk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wait when there were 500 people at Tower Records down the street, there would be 5 people at Licorice Pizza. So,
and you guys are selling mostly punk records?
No, it was there was a punk corner.
Yeah.
And that's where I put Life in Hell, my little magazine, and the punks used to rip it up, which I felt was like
that was
a badge of honor.
An honor, yeah. Yeah. So that's where you were doing the magazine at the Xerox store, and then you kept going? We
also sold drug paraphernalia.
Sure.
Bongs. Bongs and
Coke.
Little Coke vials.
Yeah,
and toy footballs that they made into bongs and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like a jerk, I always, when people would come in and buy 500 vials, I'd say, well, what do you do with these? What do you do? Yeah.
So that was the place.
Yeah. So
the dealers used to come.
And I just thought it was so obvious that's what it was. Anyway,
sure.
Whatever.
But you never did the drugs?
No. You know why? 2 reasons. One, I was afraid of losing control. But the other reason was Frank Zappa said not to.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, that's good enough for me. And I liked his stuff, so...
He didn't mind eating cigarettes, basically.
Well, yes. He was totally into nicotine and coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, one time he had to go back east, and he was flying private, and they asked, would you be willing to go with him? Because nobody in the family wanted to be on a plane with Frank across the country while he smoked incessantly.
In the back. I remember that.
And I said, yeah, I'll do it. But then he got too sick, and he didn't go.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
And did you hang out with Beefheart?
Very little.
Yeah.
Very little. Yeah. Yeah.
I bet you knew all the kids and everything, Gail and everything.
I love all the kids.
Yeah.
I love all the kids.
Yeah. So when do you make the break? I mean, when does it start taking off? It was Life in Hell, right?
Well, Life in Hell, I self-published the book Love is Hell in 1984, And it was a little. It was the size of a record album because again, that's where I thought, oh, they could stock it at record stores.
Yeah.
And it was called Love Is Hell. And then I did a book called Work Is Hell shortly thereafter. And they sold so well that I got the attention of Art Spiegelman of Mouse fame.
I know him.
And he introduced me to Pantheon Books. And Pantheon Books published Mouse and my Life in Hell books.
Yeah, Spiegelman's like he's like a comic savant.
Yes. Yeah, he's
a history of comics.
Yes, he knows it all. And he's got a lot of
He
opinions.
reference it and everything.
Yes, he's brilliant.
Yeah, he smokes a lot too.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
But now it's whatever.
The vape?
Vape, I think.
Oh my God. I think he was smoking those Camel Straights.
Speaking of Crumb,
Yeah.
Crumb was supposed to come to L.A. and I was supposed
know.
to interview him on stage.
Me too.
Really?
Here, yeah.
Oh, they asked me afterwards.
No, not on stage. No.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I was supposed to interview him on stage to promote the book, the biography by Dan Nadell, and Crumb backed out.
Bailed.
And then Art Spiegelman said, I'll go. And Art Spiegelman came out.
How was that?
That was amazing.
Did you know?
Because as you said, he got comics
history.
history. Yes.
Yeah, amazing, right?
Yes.
What do you make of Ralph Bakshi?
When I met Ralph Bakshi, he said, "You got to get out of this animation thing. It's a complete rut. You're wasting your time."
Yeah.
And then I went, "Oh, okay." And then like the next day, he was announcing a new movie.
Oh yeah. Who's the other guy? Like, what's that guy's name? Von Bode?
Von Bode or something like that.
That guy, Cheech Wizard.
Yeah.
This is the greatest.
That's wild.
Right?
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah.
So when you come down here, when you start to take off as a cartoonist, do you meet other cartoonists that outside of Spiegelman, or did you have contemporaries?
Well, I was on the fringes of the punk scene.
Yeah.
And there was a newspaper called Slash.
Yeah.
Slash magazine.
Right.
And there was a comic strip in there called Jimbo. By Gary Panter.
Gary Panter's great. Yeah, Pee-wee's guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Gary wrote me a letter in this scrawled handwriting, and I thought, because of the style of his work and everything, I thought he was a Japanese punk.
Yeah.
In the way his lettering.
Also a great painter.
Yeah, a brilliant painter.
Yeah.
And then it turned out he was a very sweet Texan.
Yeah.
And we became really good friends. And we used to hang out together, and we used to scheme, like, how are we going to break into pop culture?
Yeah.
And we'd sit at Astro Burger
Sure.
on Melrose and split a burger because we had so little money.
Yeah.
And scheme. And then he got Pee-wee's Playhouse, you know?
Yes.
Yes. And it
Changed
was like,
everything.
oh my God.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
Did you go see those things earlier?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
before they were the show?
Yeah, when it
like,
was at the Groundlings.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was
great.
Did you see those?
No.
Oh, that was before your time.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
What about Linda Berry?
Linda Berry I met in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In Portland?
No, in Olympia.
Oh, yeah, in Evergreen. Yeah.
And I met her because I found out there was another girl in the dorms who had written to Joseph Heller.
Yeah.
Who had written and gotten a reply from
Yeah.
Joseph Heller. So I had to track down the girl who had corresponded with the writer of Catch-22.
Yeah.
And I tracked her down, and it was Linda Berry.
Wow.
And she was unbelievable. And what she had done is she had written a fan letter to Heller and written on the return address Ingrid Bergman because she thought that way he would actually open it up and read it.
Yeah.
She proposed marriage to him. And
did he read it?
Yeah, he replied to her and he said, "I don't think there's room for the both of us in your dorm."
Yeah.
So we became friends, and
she surfaced as a very good comic artist.
Oh, she's the best.
Yeah.
She is she and I have gone around the country and into India and to Australia talking together, and I'm the straight man.
Yeah.
She is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
that's great.
brilliant. Yeah.
All right, so the books come out,
Yeah.
all the In Hell books.
Yes.
And you're starting to make a living,
Yes.
and you like LA better.
Right.
And when did the Simpson panel start happening?
Well, what happened was Paulie Platt, the movie producer who used to be married to
Bogdanovich. Yeah.
Brilliant, underrated.
Yeah, apparently wrote most of his stuff. Yeah.
So she bought James L. Brooks an original piece of art by me called The Los Angeles Way of Life or something like that in it. And it was very dark.
Yeah.
And he had me come over to Paramount, where he was located at the time, to see if there was something we could do together. And at the time, I lived in a little apartment house across the street from Paramount.
Yeah.
And my car had been towed away.
Yeah.
So I had no car. So I walked over to Paramount.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me on the lot because I didn't have a car.
Right.
Right. They said, go get your car and we'll let you on. I go, I don't know.
Oh, that's
They
hilarious.
towed it away. They towed it away.
This is the meeting that's going to change your life, and you're at the gate and you can't get in.
That was in '85. In '87, the Fox network started, and they hired me to work on the Tracy Ullman show.
But 85, did you have the meeting?
Yeah, I had the meeting, but it didn't go anywhere.
Okay.
You know.
Who was it with?
James L. Brooks.
So it was the first meeting with Brooks?
It was the first meeting with Brooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't go anywhere.
Well, I mean, you know, it took two more years, and then he had a new show, the Tracy Ullman show.
And he remembered you?
Yes.
Well, that's something. Until it did go somewhere.
No, yeah, exactly. No, hats off to Jim Brooks.
And you did the interstitials.
Yes, and I went into this meeting and they said, "Can you do 2-minute cartoons every week?" And I said, "Oh, 2 minutes. That's too short. What can you do in 2 minutes?"
Yeah.
And then I said, "Well, I'll try." Oh, I left out a part of the story. They wanted the Life in Hell characters, but I found out that if I signed a deal, that I would lose control.
They'd own the Life in Hell. Yeah.
And so I made up the Simpsons in the waiting room to meet Jim Brooks.
At Paramount?
No, at Fox.
The second meeting.
Yeah, the second meeting. And yeah, the Simpsons was, and what did I do? I drew humans. I used to only draw animals.
Yeah.
And my dad, my mom, you know.
Where did the inspiration for Bart come from?
It's a combination of my older brother, Mark, and me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Joe Vermiglia, the guy Joe, the kid with the finger up his butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the way he looks, you just came.
Well, that was based on this idea that I had that the most identifiable, the most memorable cartoon characters are cartoon characters you can identify in silhouette.
Yeah.
So if you look at The Simpsons, they're all identifiable in silhouette. And in fact, that's all what I try to do. Yeah.
I heard somewhere that, you pulled from that picture by Diane Arbus.
Oh, yes. Yes. There's a picture of Diane Arbus
with the kid.
Of a kid.
I was just looking at that last week. I sent it. I had no idea. And I sent that picture to a photographer friend of mine to make sure she had seen it, because I was going through that book, that first Diane Arbus book. And that kid is so memorable.
It's a very skinny kid in Central Park with wearing shorts and with one strap kind of down. And he's holding a toy hand grenade.
Yeah.
And his hands are kind of.
And he's got that face of
he looks very agitated.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said in an interview that it was based on that, as a kind of a goof.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got a letter from that kid.
Come on.
Yes. Obviously, he was a grown-up.
Yeah.
And he said, "Thank you. That was me in that photo. I grew up. I became normal. I'm a fine person." And he goes, "The reason why I was making that face and I was so unhappy is because I had just lost my G.I. Joe doll." And so that's why. So there's the rest of the story.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
But was it true that you had seen that and it was?
Of course.
Were you a Diane Arbus person?
Of course.
The best, right?
The best. Yes.
Same as Crumb. If you look at everybody with a Diane Arbus lens, it's a little sadder than Crumb, but there's a humanizing element there.
Do you know the photographer Vivian Maier?
Of course.
Unbelievable. A nanny who took photos in her spare time.
My late partner loved her. Lynn did.
Yeah.
And and she had bought I have the books. She introduced me to her.
Right.
I did. I studied a lot of photography. I do. It did have a profound impact on me. Taking pictures became too complicated.
You don't take pictures?
Well, at the time when I was into it, it was before digital. So, like, if you wanted to take pictures and process them, there's a lot of math to it in a way.
Yes.
Apertures and chemicals and papers and film speeds. And it was too much for me. Right. Now I've been told I should just get a little a Leica and just go for it.
Yeah.
You shoot?
My iPhone. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, but learning about photography had a profound effect on me.
Photography is great.
That Richard Avedon book, The American West.
Yeah.
That's a killer.
Right.
But all those, Arbus is great. Nan Golden, too.
Uh-huh.
I love her.
Right.
All right, so you've got your Bart, you've got your family, you've doodled it, waiting to see Jim.
They say, I come in, they say, can you do 2-minute cartoons for the Tracy Ullman show? And I'm thinking that's impossible.
Yeah.
But of course I say yes. And then they call me up and they say, by the way, it's not 2 minutes, it's 1 minute. I go, oh, no. And then they say, oh, by the way, it's not 1 minute, it's 2 30-second cartoons.
So it's basically an animated single panel.
And then, and then they cut it even more. They said it's 4 15-second cartoons. So the beginning of The Simpsons was all based on 15-second little interstitials.
And they were like one exchange.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I realized the only way to make people remember what they were seeing is if it had very, very heavy mayhem, slapstick, physical, so that's why Homer strangles Bart.
And what was the experience in working with moving pictures?
That was a blast.
Did they just set you up with an animator, or like with how did it work?
Well, we went through the motions of contacting various animation studios, and it turns out that they chose the cheapest one.
Right.
And that was Klasky Chupo in Hollywood. Yeah. And they had they were struggling, and they hooked me up with 3 animators. David Silverman, he ended up creating the rules for how to draw the characters.
Oh, okay.
So 'cause I didn't know. Like, I would draw a bunch of spikes, and David Silverman said, no, there are 10 spikes.
Yeah,
and I
right.
Go, oh, okay.
Yeah. Was it always 10, even though you didn't know?
I didn't. Well, it is. I think it is now.
Yeah.
I don't count.
So that's interesting. So he was he created.
He made the rules.
So from that, what's the next turn?
Auditioning. So I was assigned Dan Castellaneta. He said, you have to work with Dan Castellaneta, and you have to use Julie Kavner, who were members of the cast of the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah.
And then so that only left 2 people to cast, and that was for Bart and for Lisa. And I think we saw maybe 10 people total. And Nancy Cartwright came in to audition for the part of Lisa, but she was Bart. So she became Bart. And Yardley came in to audition for Bart, and she was Lisa.
Okay.
So that's it. And they've been fantastic ever since.
Forever.
Yes.
When did they say, like, we want to do a full show?
They would show, as the Tracy Ullman show went on, they would show these little short cartoons to the audience at the Tracy Ullman show while they were filming it on Friday nights, and they were a hit with all the people sitting in the bleachers. Yeah. And the Fox executives were there going, this is actually getting laughs. Yeah. And so they said, would you like to do a special? And Jim Brooks and I said, no, we want to do 13. Yeah. And they said, how about 4? Yeah. And the reason we were opposed to doing just 1 is because if it was successful, it would be another year before we'd have another one.
Exactly.
But if we had 13, and they greenlit the show without a pilot. Yeah. So there you go. That was really...
And what was on Fox at the time? That was before it was just starting to do programming, right? Really?
Yeah, they were not in the entire country. Yeah. There was a lot of forgetful... Beans Baxter, I think, was one that's they think of. And then Married with Children. That was a huge
That was
hit.
huge, yeah. And so in the early kind of developmental meetings about 13, did Brooks bring the sitcom sensibility to it?
Jim was brilliant from the very beginning, and he basically said, okay, our mission is to make people forget they're watching a cartoon, to go for moments of real emotion. We know it's going to be cartoony, but let's go for moments of real emotion. And I agreed with that. I think that was a great idea. So that's what our mission was.
So he's the assignment was emotion. You brought the fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
the underground snarly. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, were you a malcontent your whole life?
No, I was, when
you were a kid, did you get into trouble?
I did get into trouble. But if there was another class clown in the room, I was fine. Yeah. But if there wasn't, then I had to take that. I had to take that thing.
Did you do any other performing?
Little things.
Oh, yeah. But nothing that...
But when I was at the end of high school, my friends and I created a political party. We ran for office.
What was the platform?
We were called the Teens for Decency.
Oh.
And
this is a joke.
And our slogan was, if you're against decency, what are you for? And because at the time there was a Christian group called Young Life, who had just started at our high school, and they were going around telling all the Jewish kids they were going to hell. Oh, okay. So we created this parody group to make fun of them, and we all won.
Oh, good. That's good.
Go. Yeah.
So where did Simon come in?
Sam was one of the writers and producers of the Tracy Ullman Show, and he was the only one who had experience in animation. He had worked on the Fat Albert animated show.
Yeah, I interviewed him when he was sick.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, it was good. You know, I interviewed him when he was, pretty sick.
He was incredible. One of the funniest, smartest guys I've ever met and worked with. He and I butted heads eventually, but at the
About what?
Partly because of the amount of attention that I was getting.
Yeah.
I think that really bugged him.
Because he was functioning as head writer.
He was the showrunner,
Yeah.
and he was great, and he knew everybody,
Yeah.
and brilliant, and he and I used to be really good buddies. We'd go to the Lakers together,
Yeah.
and then
It's an ego thing.
there was but he was also very cynical about the show. So while we were doing the first 13 episodes, every day he'd say 13 and out. 13 and out.
Yeah.
He was absolutely sure the show was going to fail. And by the way, his judgment was probably astute and correct.
Yeah.
Because the idea of it working was,
Why?
unlikely.
Why?
Well, because there had never been an animated show in 25 years on in prime time.
Right.
And that everybody said this can't, you can't have animation in prime time.
Yeah.
Except for Garfield specials. Right.
Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons why The Simpsons got on the air is because there were finally TV executives who were young enough to have remembered the Flintstones and the Jetsons and Johnny Quest, and so they said, "Oh, there can be animation at night."
Sure.
Yeah.
And were you aware that you wanted to cross lines?
Yeah.
And push the envelope?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, a little bit. You know, I wanted to be friendly enough but that people would watch, but I figured that kids would watch.
Yeah.
I knew that we called it an adult show because if you call
wanted kids to watch.
Well, we knew kids would watch.
Yeah.
No matter what it was.
Yeah.
But if we called it a show for adults, then we could get away with more wild jokes.
Yeah.
But back at the very beginning, it was amazing how uptight even a network as loose as Fox was. We had a line, I think it was in the first episode, one of the early episodes, in which Homer says to Marge, "Hey, Marge, tonight will you wear your blue thing with the things?"
Yeah.
And they said, "You can't say that." We said, "Well, what does it mean?" They couldn't say why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did it have to be cut?
No, it didn't.
Oh, good.
So there are hilarious censor notes that we.
Did you keep them?
I have them, a file of them, and they make great jokes reading on stage.
Yeah. Have you done that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bart cannot hold a shotgun up to the Easter Bunny and say, "In 5 minutes, either your eggs or your brains are going to be in this basket."
Yeah. He can't say that.
You can't say that.
Yeah.
He did.
How much did the lampoon have an effect on you?
Huge. Yeah. When I was in high school, National Lampoon started, and
Because that just reminded me of the dog cover.
oh yeah,
Buy this magazine, we'll shoot this dog.
Yeah, National Lampoon and Monty Python I was only aware of in the form of record albums.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But the lampoon, because I kind of got hip to that in high school too, and I was like, what is happening? This is where it's at.
The Lampoon was amazing.
Was
and before the Lampoon, of course, there was Mad.
Mad Magazine, sure.
Mad Magazine, but even before that, Mad Comics by Harvey Kurtzman.
Sure.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Mad Magazine, Al Jaffe.
Yep.
And Don Martin.
Right.
The best.
The best.
Aragones did. His were really good.
Yeah, he was great.
He was dark.
He was good.
Well,
he was the best. He's the best drawer in the business.
What was the name of the strip?
In Mad, he did these little things in margins.
Yeah.
And then he did other stuff. He actually did Simpsons comics at one point.
He did.
Yes.
Yeah. You think he's the best, huh?
I think he's the top. Yes.
Oh wow.
As far as drawer. Yeah.
Were you Al Jaffe guy?
Yep.
He
he visited the Simpsons. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been a big
that was
day.
huge.
Yeah.
It was huge.
How did the Simpsons become sort of a training ground for all these amazing comedy writers?
Was
that Sam?
Right. Yes, Sam hired so many of them, and he recognized talent. And Jim Brooks was encouraging of new talent. And I don't know, how did we get Conan O'Brien? How did we get Greg Daniels? How did we get all these guys?
Dana Gould,
John Schwartzwelder.
Yeah,
just unbelievable.
Rob Cohen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. and David X. Cohen, who went on to do Futurama with me. Yeah. So many. I actually thought, I'm going to try to mention as many writers as I can. It's going to be boring, but I'll mention their names. And then I looked it up. There's 142 Simpsons writers.
I think one of the reasons
So I can't do it.
Is not unlike what's going on, I think, in horror films today, is that it provided a space for them to really take it out there. Like, when you have to have humans talking and you're confined to what's possible with humans on a sitcom, you're fundamentally limited. No matter what you can do, even if it's an elaborate sitcom like Seinfeld where you can change sets and you have all this money. But with a cartoon, I mean, you can literally do anything with jokes.
Right.
So why wouldn't they want to do that? I mean, it's like the best thing in the world for a writer.
Right. No, it's amazing because, if you actually filmed a Simpsons episode in live action and just depicted what we depict in animation form, you couldn't do it.
No, it'd be impossible.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. So all these guys must have been living their best lives.
No, it's the greatest thing. And also, very early on, we realized that this was a forum for different comedy styles. So there's all sorts of, there's puns and parodies and
you can do whatever.
And do whatever. We can break our own rules all the time.
Yeah. All you got to add is a little self-consciousness to it.
Right.
Yeah. That's interesting, right? And it keeps going. So in Futurama came when?
Around 2000.
And they're doing more of those now?
Yeah, we're in the middle of our next season, whatever.
And you're still actively engaged with all of it?
Well, you can't be in more than one place at one time. So I get to tell the people at The Simpsons I'm going to work at Futurama, and then, and then vice versa, and then I just go home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But Jesus, it's like South Park is getting there as well. But it
hundreds of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With South Park?
I think with South Park.
Yeah,
certainly with Futurama and Simpsons is almost 800. We're going to have
800.
800 episodes. That's too many.
But you don't.
But it's not. What I like about it is it's not a ghost ship. It's not. I love The Office. I love Seinfeld. But there are no new ones.
Ship.
There's no new ones. There's no new ones.
Yeah, but sometimes they become zombie ships before they're over.
That's true. That's true. And sometimes you recover, or the zombies come back. That's what I'm going to stick to.
But how much it becomes difficult for a group of writers to make sure that something hasn't been done before when there's 800.
Oh my God, it is impossible.
Yeah,
we do inadvertently repeat ourselves.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
And what do you do? Are you in kind of tapped into what the audience is now, or is it just
no? I'm as a parent, I am, because I have all these little kids.
How many little kids you got?
I have a couple of adult children.
Yeah.
And then I have a 12-year-old, I have two 9-year-olds, and two 7-year-olds. So I have two sets of twins. That really kicks the number up. And then I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old.
How many total?
10.
Really?
Yeah.
With how many different women?
2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and everybody gets along?
Well, do your cats get along?
Not right now.
No.
But
no.
there's
By the way,
just one bad one.
I have my friend Colette who follows the story of your cats and is very proud that you're making a special home for Charlie.
Out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to give him to somebody else, but then I realized, well, I guess he could live out here.
My friend Colette wanted me to tell you that she has pigs. She rescues pigs, and that's what she did with her pigs. And so she thinks that you should treat your cats the way she treats her pigs. Separate them.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I also have 3 cats.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This one just went bad on me. I don't know what the hell happened. He was okay.
Right.
And then he just started beating up on the old guy. And it's just like, there's no stopping it. He's just beating up on this old cat. He's not even that old. He's 9 and Charlie's 3. And fucking the old guy's he's 9. He's got 1 kidney. He's a sweet guy. And Charlie just can't not think about beating the shit out of him.
It's really hard to herd cats. It really is.
No, they're fucking monsters.
Yes.
I got two good ones. The one I thought was a moron turns out to be the best cat I have.
I had these 3 cats.
Yeah.
That were all rescues, and one was a gray tabby named Frosty, and he spent a lot of the time outdoors.
Yeah.
And it turns out he was going over next door.
Sure,
and
living a
eating
life.
and eating other people's food.
Yeah.
And he grew enormous.
Just fatto.
Just really
Fatty,
big. You know.
waddling
And
around.
then I got a call from the Purina Cat Chow Company, and they said, do you have any cats? We're doing a Purina Cat Chow celebrity calendar.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I do. And they came over with a photographer, and I hid the other two normal-looking
Yeah,
cats.
and you wanted to
and
shoot
they
the
and,
fat
they, and they didn't want to do it. You know, they had to have a consultation, and so they did it. And they posed them on the kitchen counter in front of a framed portrait of Bart. You know,
Yeah.
trying to hide his body.
Right.
It did not work. And if you look at the calendar,
Yeah.
you see all these beautiful cats.
Yeah.
And then you see mine, and everybody bursts out laughing. And then the other thing was they asked me to write a little bit about my cat, and everybody else wrote, Mittens is more than a cat. Mittens
Yeah.
is my best friend.
Sure.
And I wrote, we try to keep Frosty on a diet, but it's really hard when he sleeps inside the cat food bag. So they wouldn't print that.
It's so funny that there's a beauty standard with cats too.
Well, and then, okay, so, right, your cats are beautiful and wonderful, and they should be
Sure.
famous, right? Well, I got a call a few months later saying, we saw your cat in the Purina Cat Chow calendar. We'd like to use him as a model for an ad. And I said, fantastic. You know, it's about time, but
Yeah.
yes. And they said, well, before you say yes, we just want you to know it's an ad for diet cat food, and he's the before picture.
Did you let him use them?
Yep.
That's
of course.
good. You got to get the cats their star time. Well, what's the big plan now? What are you doing with your life?
I spend most of my time trying to make sure that my kids, know I'm there.
Yeah.
And take them to school every morning.
Okay.
I line them up in front of the garage every morning and take their photo, so I've got their entire lives.
So it's like
documented.
8 that are still
I'm
in there?
I'm only taking 6 to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And-
crazy. How'd
yeah.
you get 2 pairs of twins?
The magic of
fertility
medicine.
drugs?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And they're a blast.
Oh,
They're
good.
so much fun.
Yeah.
And they, like, who wants to hear about other people's kids? Well,
Yeah.
They're great.
I don't have any.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're great.
Oh,
they're,
good.
They're my 3-year-old went through a phase where he just was saying why,
Yeah, sure.
why to everything.
Yeah.
Any answer, he'd say why.
Yeah.
And so finally, I learned to say why not,
Oh, good.
and that stopped him.
Throw the wrench in.
Right?
Yeah.
Why not? And he just pondered that for a while. And then later I said, why'd you throw your milk on the floor? And he said, why not?
Well, it's great talking to you, Matt.
Thanks, man.
You feel good about it?
I do. Thank
Cool.
you. So you're quitting.
Yeah.
So I did my life and health strip for 32 years. I
Yeah.
did it for, and it was such a relief
Yeah.
to stop,
Yeah.
to not have that one extra deadline.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, what, I'm going to lose everything. No.
You
just
get
gives
time.
Yeah.
And I just got to not be afraid of it.
Don't be afraid. It's going to be great. I mean, you
Okay.
can also do it again.
Sure. I'll
Right.
take your word for it. Yeah. I mean, I do not feel regret about it.
Right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Wow, there you go. Futurama season 13 is now on Hulu. The Simpsons airs Sundays on Fox and streams on Hulu. We're back on Thursday. No guest. I'll make up for what I didn't talk about today. I think I'll feel a little better. And now just the guitar is just sort of like it's all falling apart now. Good timing. Monkey and LaFonda, cat angels everywhere.